AJ,
Yo,
what's happening, dude? How you doing? What's going on? How are you?
nothing much, man. You pushed the stream button and it said no. Try again later. so
Yeah.
so we waited a second, tried again. Now it works.
Yeah,
Technology.
dude.
Woohoo!
YouTube never fails to impress. But the second we're gonna go live, it said error. Try again later. I think we're gonna try again right now. But luckily it worked. Hey, before we get into the show, AJ, I wanted to give a quick shout out to all the people that donated during yesterday's show while we were watching the Upload VR showcase. It was crazy. We kind of ended the show more abruptly than we planned on, and then and during the show, like we didn't want to talk over all the presentation, and so we got great tips from a bunch of people. And so I want to say thank you so very much, guys, for all your support. We really appreciate you. You're the best. And I just wanted to make sure we get that out of the way before we start the show. Can we start the show?
Let's go.
I wasn't ready to start the show when I asked if we could start the show. Now what?
I was just kidding.
Can we start the show now?
Let's cue the cat.
No. This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Remember, if you don't like watching us on YouTube, live right here, right now, watching the world go by, you can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all sorts of streaming podcasts that I've never heard of before. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. My name's Brian Palpin, the show right here, PSVR without Parole, and this guy over here to my right. Can't do it without him. My partner in crime, Slay J.
Slay J now, is it?
It's Slay J.
Yeah. What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Friday, and we are ready to send you into the weekend with some great PSVR news, discussions, and something very near and dear to our heart that we need to address and get fixed, hopefully sooner than later.
Yes. Absolutely.
No, but for real, we had the upload showcase. This is a third day in a row you got us. You guys got us 3 days in a row, triple feature. We watched the upload showcase yesterday, and today we are going to break down all the biggest PSVR related news and talk about it, because that's what we do here. We talk about things, sometimes on topic, sometimes not. Really just depends.
Yeah, it's I felt like we were coming into December with a little. December was feeling a little bit lackluster. I'm not going to lie. It felt like there wasn't a whole lot going on. We know, or we are very pretty fucking positive that there's big news right around the corner that I know you're all really excited for. But what about PlayStation VR 1? What about the thing we already have and the thing that we love and the thing that we can't get enough of? There just didn't seem to be a whole lot going on. And it was really nice to see the Upload VR showcase and have quite a bit of attention on PlayStation VR and quite a few things to be excited about, which of course we will be talking about very soon. Guys, before we start the show, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our moderators and everybody who make this channel run properly, not just here, but over on Discord. And if you're not a member of our Discord already, join our Discord. The link is in the description below. It's free to join. It's where all of us hang out 24/7, sometimes more than that, which is shocking, I know. But it's a great place to hang out. And don't forget, if you want to keep the channel running, you can either tip here, you can support us on patreon.com/thatprogames, or you can support us in another way. Isn't that right, AJ?
That's right. You can support us by changing your name to something Gamecat, something Gamecat related, or something Gamecat adjacent, as you and something Gamecat adjacent like to say. And this week, we have 4 new Gamecats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. Recruiting's been busy, huh? Wow. Our shout out to our recruiters out there.
Tornadoes.
Getting tons of new games. Oh, it's Tornado.
Tornadoes out there recruiting. For sure. Who is our first Gamecat shout out?
I love the first one. We've got Peter, the underground Gamecat on Parole.
There's so much going on there. We know Peter. Peter's been around forever. Thank you so much for your support, dude.
But our good friend Peter Cordova. That is right. Correct. I like the new look though, Peter. I do.
I agree. Yeah. Not only does it give Parole a shout out, but it gives you a shout out, and he gives Cat a shout out by Parole. I don't know.
We call this the Elite Name Squad. We've also got Serial Killer, the Christmas Crunch Gamecat. Ooh, Captain Crunch is he's gonna have some trouble this Christmas, huh?
Wait, so just remind me, what's the deal? He's trying to get you to eat cereal?
No, that's just what he managed to do because it's cereal. For those who are listening on like Spotify and stuff, it's cereal with like Cereal. So, but when we say it, it just sounds like he's a serial killer.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, this man, yeah, and when he asked us, he donated one time and asked us what our favorite cereal was, and I was like,
Right.
I don't know, I don't really eat cereal, and now I have like
cereal.
5 boxes of cereal, and I ate like none of them. They're just sitting there.
Original Life, by the way, is the best cereal I've ever made. It's good when it's crunchy.
That's
It's
good.
good
I
when
did
it's
have some
soggy.
good ones.
Oh, love it. It's all sugar.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, man. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I think, was the winner here. So good. And then you get the milk at the end that's all cinnamony. Oh, so good.
People out there trying to sell you cereal milk as if it's like something you just want to buy off. I'm like, I don't think that's like here's a cinnamon toast flavored milk, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll have the cereal milk when I'm done with the cereal. I don't need it separately.
We've also got Mystery Man, PSVR, the Gamecat. So mysterious.
I'm extremely mystified. I have no idea who this is.
Are you the shoveler? Are you the Blue Raj?
I thought you were going to say, are you the shoveler or the shovelee? All right.
Wow.
Who's our next one?
Finally, we've got, I like this one. Sirens on my end, the Gamecat. Ho, ho, ho.
Somewhere there. Found him.
That, of course, is paying tribute to the endless amounts of sirens we hear on your end because you live in a dangerous ghetto that I almost got shot in when visiting.
Yeah, I almost get dangerously shot in my ghetto every single day. So now you know what it's like to live in Worcester, Massachusetts. Guys, again, if you're not familiar, Gamecats are the loyalists of the loyalist, fans of Without Parole. Not fans, friends, man. I mean, like, I always hate that expression. I think it's silly. And if you want to...
it's all about family.
Jesus. Having never seen a Fast and Furious movie, I can only assume that's a Fast and Furious reference.
That was the best I could do. I've seen like one of them. I think the first one.
Anytime someone makes a joke
it was
about family,
20 years ago.
Always that movie.
That's how Vin Diesel sounds. Like he got marbles in his mouth. Oh.
Nice. God, before we even start the show, Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoony witch game kitten. The $2 tip says the showcase equals suckage. We know Emily doesn't like cartoony games, and goddamn, was there a lot of cartoon games. The whole time we were watching, we're like, where the fuck's Emily? Like, we need someone to shit on this stuff. Where is she? Here she is. Nihilist Ryan, the game feeling with the $5 tip, says, because I like it when the channel keeps running. Oh, thank you. We like it when we keep running, too. Good stuff. We appreciate you. We got Bambino Ramos with the $2 tip says, haven't been here in a bit, so sending some love.
What up, Bambino Ramos? Oh, feels good to say that again, man.
I can't roll my R's. It would feel great to say that, but I've never been able to do that in my life. I took 5 years of Spanish. Yes, 5, even though high school was only 4 years. Don't ask questions. And I still can't roll my R's after all that. I think I'm a little tongue-tied. Like, my tongue isn't as long as everyone else's. I know. Sorry, ladies. But it just can't do it, man. Can't do it. Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoony witch game kit with another $2 tip says, welcome to cartoony game hate Coven Bogey Cat. I wasn't following the entire chat. So I missed what that was in reference to. I did see a request, however, in the chat for me to not shave the beard until PSVR 2 comes out. I don't think that's happening. Although I will say I got over the itchy part like last week, and suddenly I'm like, I don't have like the same craving to shave it like I did all month long. So I might keep it longer than expected. We shall see.
Well, all right, man. I think it's time to kick off the news because we have a lot of exciting things to go over, actually. Surprise. The Upload VR showcase yesterday delivered. If you didn't, go watch our watch along that we kind of reacted to the showcase. And we didn't go deep into anything. We saved it for today. But one of the things, of course, was Moss Book 2 getting a release window of spring 2022.
So, here in the States, spring begins in January, February, March, April, right? Roughly April-ish. Is that right? That can't be right. When does spring start? I always think of Q1 being winter and Q2 being spring, but that doesn't sound right. When does spring start? 2022, March 20th, January, February, March. So pretty fucking close to
I
what
was thinking late March.
pretty spot on, man. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So so that means, I mean, so didn't this game get announced like 3 months ago?
Yes, it was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Yes, time's been flying. It's hard to keep up these days.
All right, so this reveal didn't show any new footage. It was literally the only thing new from yesterday was that it's going to come out in spring 2022. And again, that's a release window, so it gives us about 3 months to estimate when it's coming out. Do you think they announced this too early, or do you think they announced it at just the right time? What are you feeling? What are your thoughts on this whole announcement?
No, I think it's fine. I'm okay with early announcements and stuff as long as you set the expectations properly and be a little transparent. If the game's going to be a while, you can say the game's going to be a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like they did a bait and switch here or anything. I like the release date. More things to look forward to while we're going to be enjoying this game while we have the build up to PSVR 2 or next generation VR on PS5, and it's just something to keep us busy. We're gonna need stuff until that releases, so I'm all for that. I've been waiting for the sequel for a long time, and interestingly enough, actually, GamesIndustry.biz did an interview with Lincoln Davis and Michael Felice on Moss Book 2, and they had a really great discussion about how the market has changed, how it's grown, that now in this day and age that sequels are starting to become a thing. You know, when VR was still early on, it still is early on, but when it was like just born, I should say, the running joke that we've always said is that these games always come out as a part 1, chapter 1, they never get a sequel. So it's a really fantastic article. I highly recommend you go read it. It's on my Twitter that you can check it out. And they just they talk a little bit about the game and just how the market is growing and basically getting ready to explode this generation. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, when they revealed this, again, it felt like another slow time for PSVR, and it was at the very first thing they announced at the beginning of one of their state of plays, and it was just when we were saying, what is the purpose of state of play? We were saying, what is Sony just kind of like throwing in the towel when it comes to marketing PSVR 1? That we know that they've put a lot of money towards making sure that we get PSVR 1 games, but it's sort of just like doing the bare minimum to keep us happy and then not really trying to attract other gamers into the fold, which again, I have said many times, you can't beat a dead horse, man. It's like, once it's dead, why would you continue to throw money at it? You're not going to bring it back to life. And I totally get that.
Yeah, they're not doing anything above and beyond. They're not trying to sell headsets anymore, really. They're just letting whatever. The important part is that for those of us that are still playing and while we wait for PSVR 2, they're still providing games, which is awesome, man. That is like amazing. I mean, this is it's going to be a timed exclusive, obviously,
right,
but it's another exclusive. What is this going to be, the 6th year of PSVR? Good God, man! And we got a bunch of exclusives this year, so. Yeah, it's not great for growth of selling more PSVR headsets, but it's really good for us that are continuing to play the platform, of course. And some people have just picked up a PSVR within the last year or so, so this is great for them too. There's lots of benefits to this, and this is all on the side. Like I said yesterday, we have to focus on 2 headsets now. It's this weird transitional period. We have to adapt to the situation, and we're going to be focusing on 2 instead of just kind of one or the other until we get the next one. And a lot of these games that have come out within the last year or two, maybe even the entire PSVR library, as we've heard, are going to have either upgrades, PSVR 2 upgrades, or it's just going to be fully backwards compatible. And this is a great example of a game that we could potentially see. I fully expect Moss and Moss Book 2 to have PSVR 2 remasters as well. So,
Yeah.
Everybody gets some here.
Yeah. Agreed. I forget where I was going with all this, but but again, no. I think what I'm looking forward to the most with Moss Book 2 is seeing some new footage. I saw someone in the chat say, I think it was Genetic Blasphemy. Correct me if I'm wrong, saying Moss came out before Astrobot, and so
Yes.
with Astrobot coming out. Afterwards and seeing what a third person kind of platformy type title could do, I mean, you would be out of your mind at Polyarc to not be paying close attention to what your competition and what one of the Sony's internal teams is doing with VR. And so I can only imagine what that did to change development, and for the better, right? Because as great as Moss Book One was, was it VR AF? No, it was awesome. But I would really like to see some more VR implementation into the next game, something that really drives it home that like you can't do this outside of VR. This is why we chose this platform, and I think that's a conversation that's going to come up later in today's show as well. Thanks to a review that I watched earlier from the VR Grid. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you doing all my hard work for me.
Yeah, the and Polyarc has said that they had a wonderful experience with the launch of the first game. I remember when it came out. It was like late February of 2018, in which Astrobot came out later that year. And, they loved the reception that the game got. And the game has been very successful. It's one of the few growing list of games that surpassed the 1 million users or players or people downloaded and played mark. And their focus on here in this article, they said that they want to take kind of the same elements and make them bigger and better, because the one thing that they kept hearing was people just wanted more of the first game, that they loved it, that it was designed to be like a 4 or 5 hour experience, but people wanted a lot more. So they're focused on making everything bigger here.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to run our show. I think something's missing. But we got Belrami the Gamecat with the €5 says, don't get me wrong, but with some games not working on PS5 and VR already, expecting 100% backwards compatibility feels like a setup for disappointment. I don't expect 100% I don't expect 100% backwards compatibility, and I don't think anybody should. From the sound of it, so there's a couple different ways this could happen. One, that there could be, I saw EAE in the chat asking how that's possible, with one being light tracking and one being inside out tracking. And from every developer we've talked to, it's that transition isn't all that hard. It's a switch you flip and says, now you're tracking it this way. But that's Sony's cross to bear. We don't know if they're going to take that on and just flip a switch and make it compatible. What we do know is that some games, when we were talking to John Hibbins from the Windlands 2 team, the CEO over there at SciTech, he was saying, that Windlands 2 will be playable on PSVR 2. And I said, how are you going to do that? He said, oh, it's just a patch. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for confirming that patches can be implemented to make your PSVR 1 games PSVR 2 compatible. And so I would say any developer worth their salt, anybody who's interested in continuing to sell their game to a brand new audience. And when I say brand new audience, I expect the PSVR 2 audience to be 5, 6, 7 times as big as the PSVR 1 audience. That is a chance to basically do a quick little patch on your game, make it look pretty, make it play better, and literally have a couple people working on that, over the course of like 3 or 4 months. And then suddenly be able to sell 6 times as many copies as you did the first time around.
I really would love to see. I would really love to see a focus on remasters, which we've heard from the leaked developer summit stuff that's going to be a focus of theirs. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see games taking advantage of the 4K headset or near 4K headset and adaptive triggers and maybe more lush graphics, lush environments. So I'm totally down with that over backwards compatibility. But that only works if lots and lots of games get upgrades. If not, then I would love just the rest to just be compatible. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it takes a little bit of work on our part, to be like, okay, we have to go in and assign, what buttons do what on the orbs, right? Give us that kind of like emulation type thing where you go in and you just like set the buttons and you kind of like make it play the way that you think it should be played. Again, a conversation that we'll probably have again later in this show. AJ, it's time to move on from Moss and talk about another game that was shown at the Upload VR showcase yesterday. And that was Ultrawings 2.
Yes, yeah, super excited about Ultrawings. Yeah, we got our first look at some actual gameplay. Now, here's the thing. I was really expecting a little bit more. This is a game I'm excited about, but this isn't a game that is typically supposed to blow everybody away. This game, like I said in the pre-show, is all about fun flight sim and mini games, mini challenges, things like that, and then having like a world to fly around as well. Visually, they said that this is a Quest 2 footage, and you can kind of see that from some of the basic textures, the basic geometry of some of the levels. It doesn't matter, though, because that's kind of what the first game was anyways. And this looks about the same, if not slightly better than the first one. It looks a little slightly better, I'd say. There's a lot more to it. But, yeah, this game, they did say they originally were not going to bring this to PSVR. And they said that, basically it was a mistake, that they were kind of targeting PSVR 2. And they kind of jumped the gun a little bit in thinking that. And yeah, now they've said they've gone back, decided that they will bring it to us. And yeah, that makes me happy. I was looking forward to, this is an indie game, but this is a big, like a pretty meaty content-filled indie game. So that's pretty nice about it.
AJ, were you aware that there's a metagame going on during our show? Were you aware that some of the cats are doing a drinking game based on some of the things that we do or say?
No, I was not aware of this.
Now that I'm aware of it, I'm going to get you guys drunk.
We do a lot of the same things. But yeah, so in addition, we saw a first look at the combat, and it looked like, it's like says they radio in and they're like, let's show them what the Ultrawings are all about. So they've got like the Ultrawings now has like a meaning, more of a meaning now. That's like the name of your squad or whatever it is, and they showed the combat. I will say, the sound design of the guns when he was shooting at the other airplane sounded great. So I like what they're doing with the sound design here. Really heavy sounding machine guns, kind of realistic. So really, really like that. They really get some things right that make this game a lot of fun and really cool.
Yeah, I think it's easy to be disappointed by the graphics when you look at this. You're like, oh, I was really hoping for an upgrade over Ultrawings 1. But I think the fact is like I don't think the upgrades from Ultrawings 1 are as easy to see from a quick little trailer or some quick gameplay footage like this as you'd expect. The team isn't gigantic, and they're making a bigger world with more planes. I mean, and they're going. It's just such a bigger game in almost every other way than graphically. And even these environments that like might not be impressive at first, like there's still a lot going on here, especially when you consider that it's this giant open world, right? And when you fly closer to it, it looks pretty nice, even if it's not like even if they're not going for realism.
Yeah, see, that's what I would want, though. I would love them to do an actual, like, I think this is the right path, though. This is the right path for them to take. Release this version on PSVR 1, and then prepare a remastered version and just really go crazy with the graphics. I assume that they're, I don't know, but I would love them to go for, like, either, like, a hyper-realistic look or just something, give it like a fresh coat of paint to take advantage of the PSVR 2 hardware, and give us something that looks stunning to fly around. That's the next thing I'd want to see from these guys. I think that's the next way they elevate, because their gameplay is good. Their gameplay is great. It's spot on. It doesn't need anything else. The look of the game, however, could really use like an overhaul and really blow people's minds, blow them away.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. But you know what? For the sake of a team trying to get their game out, I think they're making the right move. I think they're doing all the right things, and maybe they expected to be able to make a PSVR 2 version and couldn't. But I think at this point, at this late sunset time of the PlayStation VR 1, I think this is kind of what to expect. A lot of Quest 2 ports, and so this is
Yeah.
what we'll get, and it'll be fine, and it'll be fun, and we get to play with each other's, and we get to play with each other's. What, I don't know where I was going with that, but but no, this is good.
My move controllers.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to this. When it comes out though, like I'm just curious about the timeline. I think that's the final thing in my brain about this game is as we get closer to the PSVR 2 launch and we have these PSVR 1 games trickling out, you're like is it gonna cut it, man? Like, are there PSVR 1 gamers that are still gonna be around to care? A lot of people are just
Some.
sure. Oh, absolutely. There's always going to be some
Because there's the when the PSVR will be officially dead when the PSVR 2 comes out. Then it's time to stop. Then there will be nobody left, or like very, very few left. But right now, until PSVR 2 comes out, yeah, it's still good to go for now.
Yep, 100% agree
Clearly.
for that. So, but that's the thing though. If those dates start like switching places, if this comes out after PSVR 2 and it's initially a PSVR 1 title, Sirens on my end, that's when things start to get a little dicey. You're like, oof, we know sales figures are pretty low for PSVR 1 to begin with. PSVR 1 games. So just something that'll be interesting to keep an eye on, I think, as the months progress. Firebird Old School with 100 Sekiros in the chat says December Razer money for both of you. What's Razer?
Oh, thank you.
That's a hard drive. What's
Razer?
to
for
shave.
shaving.
That's good, man. I got clippers. I
got a beard trimmer.
Yeah.
All right, man.
We got a couple more tips I want to read off before we move on. We got Alex Plays VR with the €1. No message. Thank you so much for your donation, Alex. Much appreciated. Looper, the Underground Gamecat, with the €5. Says if you count grip buttons, different thumbstick directions, and thumbstick clicks, orbs will have more buttons than moves. Agreed. Also, don't forget that there's no reason whatsoever that, like, if there is this backwards compatibility with PSVR 1 titles, that there's no reason you can't push a button and point in the direction. It's like it doesn't mean that the game has to be remapped for analog sticks. Yes, we'd love analog stick controls with our old games, but if that studio doesn't exist anymore, and in the way that game worked initially was to hold the move button and just point, there's no reason why you can't just hold a button on the orbs and point, right? It's like, yeah, there's no updated control scheme, but to be able to still play it on PSVR 2 is going to be important, man. I'm all about game preservation, and losing some of these to hardware that's just outdated. No one's going to want to plug in move controllers and cameras and everything else in order to to play these games about 5 years down the road. That's going to be a really sad thing to lose out on if we don't ever get to play Pred of Vendetta Rising again.
Maybe not, but not if something better comes along.
I guess.
Only until something better comes along. Speaking of which, it is time to move to our next news subject, which is Zenith VR, the upcoming VR MMO that is run by Ramen VR. And we got some great news regarding that. We've been following for this for a while. We got to see some new footage, and it showed a lot of stuff like updated textures, new enemies, new areas that I've been really looking forward to seeing. These guys that are, I think it's run by a couple that actually like got married in Final Fantasy 14: A Realm Reborn. Such a cute story. Also, awesome game. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, so I need to sometimes get my Cactor out here and get him with his shades on in the background at some point. But yeah, we need more RPGs prompto, and yeah, this is an MMO. MMOs they always have kind of been elusive when it comes to consoles. So this is really, really a big deal and kind of breaking new ground because they're trying to bring an MMO and it's VR and all sorts of things. But the news, we got some additional news, including the new look that we got at it.
You peer a few hundred yards below you to see a group of your friends getting torn apart by deadly bony tendrils of a massive wraith towering over them. There's only one thing to do with your arms out. You jump out and dive towards the ground at ridiculous speed, swerving at the last second to dodge plants and trees on the way down. You pull up right before becoming a pancake on the earth above the wraith. Pull out your twin blades, drop down, and sink them both into its back, hearing the crack in its spine, or at least you think that's what it was. You and the wraith collapse with a thud Your friends are safe.
I cast heal on party members, and we go to the pub and get a beer.
I thought that was a good setup, man. I got the email that they sent out to the beta players was, I thought that was a pretty good setup. It created some good imagery and really made you think of some situations that you can end up in this game.
I didn't get that email. I want this email. I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
Oh, you think I just wrote that out? I was like, oh, I'm
yeah. I thought you were just decided to play Dungeons and Dragons all of a sudden.
Yeah, no. This is the email that Brian from the Zenith team sent out earlier today. Actually, sent out some keys for the beta. So I'm going to definitely be looking into getting PSVR keys, because the PSVR beta launches the same day as the rest of the headsets. Usually not the case. Usually when there's a beta going on for a game, it tends to be just like, on Quest or PC or whatever. But they are managing to launch the beta on December 18th, and that does include
this month.
Yeah, like 15 days from now this month. Like
15 days from now, guys. 15 days from now, we can get into the beta for Zenith VR. Finally.
Yeah, and it's not very often that I'm wrong. I'm just waiting for the laughter to die out.
You're just wrong.
But when I am
wrong a lot at once.
But when I'm wrong, I like to admit it. I like to stand by my mistakes and say, yeah, I was fucking real wrong about that. And for a while, man, I played this beta a while ago, and I was like, they've got a long ways to go. They've got further to go to releasing the full game than I thought. And now they're saying the game's coming out in early 2022. All of this footage looks way, way, way better than the stuff I played a few months ago. They are making huge strides, and the fact that they're actually developing simultaneously on PSVR. In my head, these guys were making the Quest version, and then they were going to get to the PC VR version, and then they were going to get to the PlayStation VR version. And by that point, PSVR 2 was already going to be out, and it was just like it was going to be like sometime late in 2022. And they're saying totally the opposite. That this game is coming out early next year, which, don't forget, guys, there's only 28 more days left in the month, right? Yeah. Or the year. So we are very close to early next year. And so they're killing it with this. Now, one of the big things that this trailer shows off is improved gliding. And dude, I don't know if you paid close attention to this, but I mean, this looks awesome. We love games like Rush VR that are kind of, all about flying. That kind of stuff, but to have a game where you just jump out and you can spread your wings, and I don't know why more developers aren't doing these kind of things. We were talking to Steve from Alvo earlier this morning, and we're constantly telling developers grappling hooks, jetpacks, like anything that can make VR more exciting. And these guys are like, oh yeah, you can fly. It's like, what? Oh, go, there you go. Right? It's a fucking VR game, man. Like, make it feel exciting just to be in that world and get around in that world, right? Windlands 2, I mean, say what you want about the actual, the combat or the mechanics or whatever, but man, getting around that world with the grappling hooks, like, that's what makes that game amazing. Yeah. And so, if you're making a VR game, don't forget that you're making a VR game, and make sure that it's fun just to move sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. I just see that this is, from the footage, that it's more polished, there's more content. This is like everything that I was kind of expecting and hoping to see. And in your defense, I think, at least as far as I remember, you just didn't think this game was coming in 2021. And so yesterday you were a little off. You're like, we might not see this game for a year. And it's turns out it's like a month or two. Or 15 days technically with the beta. But
you can try to defend me all you want, man. I was just fucking wrong. I was way off. I didn't think we'd see this game for a year. Period.
But I'm really excited about this. I love JRPGs. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. I've played stuff like A Realm Reborn. I've never experienced something like this in VR yet. So I'm really, really looking forward to playing, streaming, and just having fun talking about the our first impressions with the beta and just watching this game evolve. I also have a lot of experience with MMOs. I played. My friend got me into like World of Warcraft. I played that for a long time, and man, those games are really excellent foundations for some really fun time sinking, just good times and leveling and progression systems and variety in areas and enemies and all sorts of stuff. So I am totally down with this. Cannot wait.
Yeah, this to me seems like very much a VR Fantasy Star Online, which is definitely my jam. So I'm excited about this. You said you didn't get this email, so do you mind? There's three little paragraphs that I think are packed with cool information. Do you mind
Go ahead.
let's blast through it real quick. Brian says, one of my absolute favorite things that we've added to the game is sensitive gliding mechanic that gives you a wicked, awesome control when you fly. This guy's right from my backyard. Being able to dive towards the ground like an eagle, swooping toward your prey, swerve through narrow arch at the last second, or hover over an enemy for a moment before you drop down on them and take them out, ninja style. The freedom that sensitive gliding gives you is incredible, and I can't wait for you to all experience it yourself. Another cool mechanic that the trailer shows off is being able to throw your swords in combat. The mechanic can be strategically used to stun and damage enemies from afar before you take them on for damage, for more damage in closer ranged melee combat. For mages, the trailer gives glimpses of new abilities and spells and even a new magical shield.
Yeah, I saw the shield and I thought that was new. You know, even not having played it, I love hearing that they have it so you can throw weapons and like stun enemies. Oh, that's great.
Lastly, the trailer shows off a bit more diversity of the world, spanning from desert villages to lush forests to different parts of the city, plains, and even sewers beneath the city. One thing that's harder to see from the trailer that is the completely rewritten AI system from the ground up that brings characters in the world to life, makes them more engaging and interesting to fight, and makes the whole world feel more alive. So they've made a lot of progress on this game in the last few months. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, love what I'm hearing here.
Real quick here, I want to give a shout out to I got it. Bell Ramy at the Gamecat, the €2 says, just saw that I got the email too. I liked Orbis at AJ.
Oh, Orbis was
Sounds familiar.
it's technically like the first MMO in VR. I've heard it's good, but I've also heard it's very like basic in some ways. I don't know if they meant visually or gameplay depth, but yeah, it was just something that I had been told about before, and but yeah, this is I think going to be like one of the first big breakthrough MMOs. We've also been looking at Elysia, but this one seems to be far like way more ahead of that one right now at the time. And this one has, this was a game that we've been reporting on for years now and following. And yeah, they crushed their Kickstarter from the get-go. They've done all the right moves with this game. And yeah, I'm just really excited. It's been a long time coming, and it sounds like it's going to be a great time.
All right, man. Let's move on to another game that was showcased yesterday.
Yes, which was the most surprising announcement, I would say, for me personally. And that was the announcement that Lucky's Tale is coming to PlayStation VR soon. Now, for those who don't know, it's by Playful Studios, the ones who brought us Star Child and Star Child demo. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm really excited about this. I'm glad that they brought this to us. I didn't know, however, that this game had been out for since 2016.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised that we are getting this game, but it sounds like it has really good impressions overall. And I've got some key things to talk about. But yeah, what was your first thought when you heard the news?
Whenever there's a game that is coming to PlayStation VR unexpectedly, whether it's something I'm excited about or something I'm not excited about, I'm really, really happy because I'm going to have to play it to review it. So cool, especially something like this that looks like, like I can maybe turn my brain off a little bit and just be like, oh, just blast through a fun little platformer. That's exciting to me. But yeah, I had heard this was out, years and years ago. I remember it coming out and people going, oh yeah, it's fine. Right. And I don't think there was like a whole lot of excitement around it. And in fact, I think a lot of people were kind of negative about it because it always lends to that question: does this game need to be in VR? Should this game be in VR? Is VR the best way to play this? And I always struggle with that question, right? Because Ven VR Adventure has the same problem. Being like, Ven VR Adventure, I don't think benefits all that much from being in VR. It's very much a flat screen 3D platformer that doesn't have like that your head being in VR as the camera doesn't do anything additional that like just moving the right analog stick to move the camera doesn't do. So it's always a question like, well, if you're gonna be in VR, just like I was saying about Zenith, about the movement, if you're gonna make a 3D platformer in VR, well, do something special to make your game feel like a VR game. And so before the show, I was like, well, let's check out the reviews of the Oculus Quest version that just came out like what, 2 weeks ago. And I watched. He's here, and I hate to give him shout outs because you know how much I hate Ryan. Ryan, you know how much I hate you, like so much, like just with all of my heart, I hate you. But I chose your review because the alternatives were so much worse. And no, you guys know I love VR Grid. Make sure you check out his channel if you don't watch it already. I watched his review, and I thought his review for a game that I hadn't played. I thought he looked at it from a couple of different angles, and the word I heard him use more often than any other word in that review was "the," and then the word after that was "outdated." Right? He's like, felt outdated. He's like, it looks nice enough. He's like, but the gameplay just feels outdated. It feels like a VR game from 2016.
Well, and that's the funny thing was I actually watched Upload VR's video review.
That's the alternative. What did you think I was talking about?
Well, I watched it and I had no idea that after I watched the review, it was from 2016. And I was like, whoa. So Ryan's review is probably a little bit less outdated than my little impressions. I'm trying to, I've tried to keep it spoiler free. I didn't even look at the footage. I just listened to it. But the overview that I got from it was, of course, there's Lucky. You play as this cute little adorable fox. It mentions a lot of things like it being basic but fun, that it has like really good controls. And the thing that it does for VR, I don't think anything's going to top Astrobot Rescue Mission when it comes to VR platformers. That's the at least third-person VR platformers. Moss, is maybe another one, but Moss and Astrobot are like the like prime example of how to do 3D platformers in VR. And I always fought for those really hard because I remember people going, why is this game in VR? It doesn't need to be in VR, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted some games to come out because I'm such a platformer fan that games could prove that they did it. And Astrobot did it the best because it has like the cool mechanics that it used, the interactiveness basically. But the thing that this game does apparently get right with being in VR is that they mentioned it having like good scale and angling. So like, I've played some Dreams, like I said before, where it was basically like Spyro the Dragon. And like I got kind of a feel for what it would be like. And being immersed in these worlds when they're impressive visually and the scale of everything is huge, you're not going to see it on the screen. It's not going to look impressive to you when you're watching footage. But when you're in the headset, being immersed in this world makes it really, really cool. So they talked about it having like good scale, good angling to kind of, and like, like how in Moss, how you had to look around for secrets. This game does that as well. There's some time trial modes that were basically said to be a good thing. However, they said that there were that there are things in the game that required you to collect them to be able to progress. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the game is a little bit on the shorter side at like maybe no more than 4 hours if you go back and like replay stuff. This is the kind of game that I would love if it has a platinum trophy, though.
Yes,
because I love
100%.
Platinum trophies. I would platinum the shit out of this game if it has a platinum trophy.
Make me play this game twice, Playful Studios. Make me play it twice. I love when a game goes, oh, you played through it once, you got a few trophies on the way just by coincidence, and then there's a whole set of things that you can do on your next run that will check a bunch of boxes off and get you the rest of the trophies and get that platinum, find every single collectible. If they don't have a platinum trophy lined up for this game, I'm already dinging it a whole point. Like do you
Yeah,
especially for a
yeah.
game of this length, 3 hours is nothing anymore, right? Like
Yep.
I gave Suicide Guy VR, like, Suicide Guy VR is a $10 game, but you get like 3 hours out of it the first time, and like pretty much 6 hours if you're going for the platinum. And for $10, I'm like, that was pretty good. But this game's $20, man. Like I need to get at least, I'm hoping to get at least 6 hours out of this. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't. I've stopped. I've stopped using other people's reviews as for my feelings on games. Obviously, like, because all I can do is until we have the game in our hands is kind of help other people get their expectations in check and be like, hey, if you're looking for the next Astrobot, this isn't it. And that's why I went out and watched other people's reviews today. But I'm gonna go into this with a clear mind and say, hey, like, if this is just a simple, straightforward platformer and I get a few hours out of it and it's fun, like that's fine by
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Having games locked on other headsets kind of sucks. It's like we finally get our hands on this one, which is to be honest, like, good enough sometimes.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm expecting this to hit basically third place in the platformers behind Moss and Astrobot. Behind Astrobot and Moss,
Well,
I should say.
fourth place after
And
Marvels, obviously.
no, it'll be better than Marvels.
We'll
But
find
yeah,
out.
this game's not going to be blowing us away or anything. But it looks really charming. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm glad Playful Studios finally got something to us, and I hope that they do eventually bring a Star Child one day. Maybe that's why they haven't said anything, is that we surprise release in the future. But yeah, I hope this is less than $20. If it's only 3 hours long, that's not a very competitive price point.
It
to
just
launch
came
this
out on
game.
Quest 2, and it's $20. So
It just came out on Quest 2 and
expect
it's
it to be
$20.
$20. Dark Angel in the chat with the $5 tip says, meow, meow, meow. Just saying,
It's not the worst. Oh,
saying I had a wicked rough 24 hours. He said wicked. So again, my backyard. Wicked rough 24 hours. Wicked rough. 24 hours, and I'm on the other side of it now. Keep spreading that VR love, fam. Thanks for streaming. Always. Dark Angel.
you got it.
I didn't know you were sick. I'm really, really sorry. I hope you. It sounds like you're getting better, and I'm really, really happy to hear that. Keep us posted. Let us know. And I'm sorry for being out of the loop. Meow.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's a very competitive price point, especially on a platform where games are on sale like crazy.
Yeah.
It's also, that's the one big mistake that developers are still making right now is, some people price accordingly. Song in the Smoke sold their game for $30, and that I got 60 hours out of that game. $30, 60 hours. And so, not to mention, like I said, all the sales. Astrobot's $9 right now. Dreams is $10. Firewall's $10. All these like AAA games are like $10. So if you really want to make a splash, I would definitely consider dropping that price. But maybe they can't do that because, like you said, they've already released on the Oculus Quest 2 or whatever for $20.
Yep.
Which over there it makes sense, but for us, is not gonna. It's probably gonna be a wait for sale for a lot of people, just knowing our audience. But anyways, still, I'm excited to play this. I think it looks cool. I love platformers. I love to have a new one, and I'm looking forward to this. Looks like a good time. Short, good time.
Yeah. Somebody asked me in the chat if I've reviewed Baby Hands yet. I have not. Since when I did that first playthrough, which hopefully you guys got decent impressions from, the developer was in the chat saying that they're working on a patch to address some of the bugs that I found and some of the sound issues and also a bunch of quality of life things. So that was supposed to be out early this week. It's now late this week, and it's still not out.
Who asked that question? You stop trolling. Stop trolling.
Dude, I'm excited to review Baby
That
Hands.
is such a troll. No,
because I've held off getting that platinum. I'm going to go in and I'm going to play that game from start to finish, capture new footage once it's patched.
I will find you. Okay,
Hey,
I
man,
will find you.
Baby Hands is fun.
Tom Flesh
That's a
Eater
fun
Gaming.
platinum. It's not a good game, but it's a fun platinum.
Tom Flesh Eater Gaming says this reminds me of Conquer for Kids. Yeah, it does look like Conquer's Bad Fur Day vibes a little bit. I used to
Yeah.
love Conquer's Bad Fur Day. That had such great multiplayer too.
Do you own my N64 cart of Conquer?
I did buy your N64 card. I don't even have an Xbox, and I have the Rare collection from.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have an Xbox anymore, but they did something awful, and they replaced all the dirty jokes in Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I was really pissed about. They replaced all the beer with milk, and they like censored it a bunch, and really pissed me off. But that's why I bought the original from you, and I'm good to go. I've got an N64, and I've got the OG Conker's Bad Fur Day, and yeah, good shit, man.
I'm about to hook my N64 back up, man. I'm jonesing for some GoldenEye. All right, listen. MLGR221 in the chat says, did they talk about the controls yet?
No, we did not, but it is time because, After the Fall is only days away. And during the showcase, actually literally during the showcase yesterday, it was both part of the showcase, but something else occurred, which was they posted in the PlayStation blog, and it was a lot about some details about the PvP, a deep dive on that. We've already talked about the PvP, so we're going to skip that. But they posted the control schemes for After the Fall. This game supports DualShock moves and the aim controller. And we are going to address something because we have noticed some major red flags that are very, very concerning. And we want to talk about it and share it with you guys. And I have been talking as soon as this article came up and I saw the picture of these controllers, the Move controllers in particular, I reached out to Vertigo Games immediately and was like, guys, you have a serious problem. That I tried to be very subtle about it, but also let them know, like, you have no idea, like, that how big of an issue this is going to be.
Right.
So
someone earlier in the chat, like when we first began the show, was like, there's all this news and they're headlining with the After the Fall controls. And honestly, we talked about this and was like, man, it really sucks to have all this great news. Sirens on my end, have all this great news but the biggest story is, Jesus, they got to fix these controls and they got to fix it fast, right? Because we've been playing PSVR games for 6 years. We understand the different control schemes. There is even if there's not an analog stick on the controller, there's still a standard that we feel as though developers should be upholding. Because why are you rewriting the book on simple controls? Especially when it just comes to walking forward and backwards. The fact that that's not standard in every game, I mean, I almost kind of gave Windlands a pass for their kind of substandard control scheme because you're not running around.
Some have to do workarounds because there's more buttons than what are offered and stuff. And
right.
There have been some, but there is a traditional standard scheme that we give praise to all the developers. I mean, none of the games that released earlier this year, we had Fract, we had Arashi, we had Saints and Sinners last year. We had I can't remember, but a lot of the games, Song in the Smoke, these all shared the same exact fundamental control scheme. And Arizona Sunshine back in the day didn't have the best control scheme. Most people played it with the aim controller, and that is actually the first controller we're going to bring up here and talk about are the aim controls. Now, from just at a glance, this seems to me like the same control scheme as Arizona Sunshine. This was people's preferred way to play Arizona Sunshine because they said with everything else, with DualShock it wasn't immersive. With the Move controls, they were bad, the mapping. And this to me is okay. I think this is playable. This is fine. But there's still some things about this control scheme that really bother me. I think this will be the optimal way. I think if you have an aim controller, you're safe to get this game on PlayStation VR. If that's the way you were planning on playing, I think that's going to be the best way so far.
I mean, let's be fair. If you're playing on PlayStation VR, like, you're used to adapting with new games, right? Like, because regardless of a somewhat set control scheme that we have, lots of developers choose not to follow it, right? And so, if you pick up the Move controllers, it's always going to take a minute to go, what does what, right? But you're right. I do think that out of the box, the one that makes the most sense, the one that you're going to be able to jump into without thinking too heavily about it, is the aim control scheme. Because
there is something about this that catches my attention. Stuff like X being to eject the magazine, like it's always been a square that is like your reload button. And I remember playing Arizona Sunshine and pressing X and the clip pops out. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, it's every single game. To me, it makes me think that, like, there's a really, like, inexperience with just video games. I mean, what game have you ever played with a controller that you pressed X and it reloads?
I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing. For 25, 30 something years, it is never like people have like I know this is a different controller design than the average controller, but it's got the same face buttons and so like it's just there's a couple little things about the aim controls here that bother me,
Right.
but overall it's very usable. It seems like it's going to be the best one.
I mean, overall, yeah, it is weird that they would map it to the X and then not map anything to the square, right? It's like, well, if you're not using the square,
Yeah,
for
there's
anything
nothing
else,
mapped.
right?
There's nothing mapped to square.
And then on top of it all, being like, oh, we're going to give you an option to also use L1, or is that R1? I can never remember. Yeah, I think it's R1, right? Which is like, you can see it there. It's right above the trigger, so you kind of have to like, if you're holding the aim controller, you have to like reach over and do this if you don't want to hit X. Who's going to do that? Like, why is the alternate button so out of the way? It just it's
just looking at this in a quick glance. I would put eject as square, eject magazine as square.
obviously yes.
Triangle would be the selection wheel because that's usually how we're used to that. And then circle would be the rotate. And then have X be like an interact or grab button or pick up something. And that's just like looking at it in 2 seconds. Just
Right.
it's all about being very intuitive. And I feel like they struggle when it comes to making like these designs for the most part, or these designs as we get into they're just a little unintuitive. They're not where we naturally are used to placing our hands. And the thing is that there's so many other games that the buttons are exactly where you expect them to be. So this isn't like, I know some of it's maybe a foreign thing to them, but this is nothing new. Like there's so many other games that did the exact same thing. And like you said, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Every time some kind of developer tries to just invent their own control scheme versus doing the research and the studying on what worked before, what people really like, even just asking the community, it usually becomes a train wreck and affects sales greatly.
Right. Now, keep in mind that, Vertigo, this is strange. Braxbro in the chat earlier said, would it be worse if they didn't announce these control schemes ahead of time? And my feeling is yes.
Yes.
Like,
yes, it would have been much worse.
I feel like I'm already rewiring my brain so that when I first dive in, I'm like, don't expect anything to work the way you think it's going to work. And so I'm really happy that they announced this ahead of time. And on top of that, they said that they are going to be listening to customer feedback and changing these as time goes on. But you talked to them today, and they're like, well, it's not whatever changes aren't going to be done for launch. Right?
They said post-launch, we will be tweaking the controls further based on your feedback, which to me is a really strange strategy. I mean, I know PSVR might not be their priority, but they did so much work already, and I'm really surprised they didn't like get some of these some play testers or reach out to us or reach out to Reddit or somewhere to get some people to play test and get this feedback. Why does this feedback have to come? Why do these changes have to come after launch? Why do you have to have like cause this frustration at launch? Like it's very surprising to me that they do choose to do this after launch versus at launch.
I mean, so when it's very infrequent that you see a game come out in a week before it comes out on the PlayStation blog, they post all the control schemes. Like it's almost like they were like, this doesn't seem right. Let's post them and let's get the bad news out of the way. Like,
right.
Like why the fuck would they be doing this in the first place? It just seems like, hey guys, we need feedback and we know this isn't right. It just seems like such a weird way to go about it.
With all the delays that you made us wait and everything, that's it's just really disappointing. But anyways, that's the aim controller. That's going to be the one that definitely seems like the biggest recommendation.
Before we move
for
into
fun and immersion,
for sure. Before we move into DualShock 4, Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoony widget game kit in rare with $5 tip says Twitcher and I will have a hungry hippos tournament after cartoony games become extinct. Either way, we all win. Well, I hope you're playing after the fall because it's not cartoony. Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €5 says, didn't Blair Witch have somewhat non-standard control scheme, something like top button for turning? Yeah, the top.
Blair Witch had excellent controls though.
Yeah, and honestly, and it had some really kind of some really interesting control schemes. Like when you brought up an item, like the video camera, the button layout on the video camera was move controllers. Like there was a big button in the middle, and then buttons on all corners, so you could see exactly what you're doing without looking down at your controller. But yeah, but when you move the turn buttons from the bottom to the top, that's like about as far stretching away from like traditional control schemes as I'm willing to accept. We're going to get to the move controls for after the fall, and we're going to talk about how they even screwed that up. Okay, I don't
So
miss any
next
tips,
we've got
right? Good.
Yeah, no. Next, we've got the DualShock 4, and this one, this is the thing, is that people don't necessarily like playing with the DualShock 4 because it's just not it's not immersive. It is a great option to have as an accessibility device, and they actually got this one. This is a more traditional thing, and it looks normal.
Dude,
Left
Square
stick move.
ejects the magazine.
Square, I know. Why didn't they? Look, and even the triangle. I didn't even notice this, but even the triangle is the selection wheel, and they didn't copy this for the face buttons on the aim controller. That's so weird.
Yeah,
like they had it right, but they had this exactly right for the DualShock. But I reckon majority of people are not going to be playing this with DualShock.
Right.
Great option to have, though. We love options. We appreciate them having this as an option. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we say a good number of people aren't going to be playing this with the DualShock, but then we find out how many people, played Firewall and Farpoint without ever buying an aim controller, and we know that those games don't support the moves, so we know that they're playing with DualShock. So I think a shocking number of people are going to play this with the DualShock, and at least it for the most part looks okay. It's what? How do you fire?
Let's see. Let me bring up the control scheme. Throwing arc. Grab one.
I don't think you can shoot with the DualShock or controls.
You say it. It's voice immersion. You go bullet. No, you're right. There is no. I'm guessing it's got to be the R2 and L2.
It's got to be. They just copied and pasted throwing.
They just kind of forgot stuff. They forgot to list that in here. So that's an issue.
All right. Well, maybe DualShock 4 isn't the way to play this one.
Maybe it's not. You're gonna need to be able to shoot stuff.
Wow, that is. I can't believe I didn't notice that. All right.
I didn't. I guess I kind of just assumed. I mean, I wanted to look at it here too, but man, and it's funny too because they posted this on Twitter and nobody even mentioned this. I mean, nobody even. All the responses are people that don't even care anyways. But unfortunately, but yeah. Okay, so let's move on. This is the big issue here.
Yep.
Is that the move controllers? This is what really hurt me to see, because this shows that it's I've never seen anything like this. This is a complex beast that cannot be tamed, and these are just, it is just baffling to see this.
It's like they were determined to not have to worry about a left-handed mode, right? It's because the controls on each move controller are basically mirrored images of each other. So, and the thing that gets me more than anything else, I'm sure you're going to have your own complaints about this, but having the turn left button on your left move controller and a turn right button on your right move controller. We're not talking about on your right move controller and your left move controller there's two face buttons that turn you left and right. We're talking about you have to push this button on this controller, turn left, and this button on this controller, turn right. And that is some PSVR 1 launch nonsense. We have come so far. Arizona Sunshine doesn't even do that, does it?
I don't know. I mean, I remember Arizona Sunshine. I always like to say what Polish Paul says. I always quote him, and it's like some games map when they do stuff like this. It's like operating a tractor, trying with tons of levers and gears and all sorts of stuff. You have to do so many steps just to do basic functions. And yes, so let's go ahead and explain what the traditional control scheme is, and that is you push the move button. And you point the move button. It's Endeavor One likes to call it the virtual joystick, which I think works great. You push the move button and you point the move button in the direction that you want to move. It's called the move button. It's meant for movement. this and like so firing and using items and grabbing stuff, you know, you don't grab with your thumbs, you grab like by usually pressing the triggers is what you like to grab, right? You usually grab with the triggers because that's where it should be. Sniper Elite did this same mistake of trying to grab and clip onto things, clip onto your guns, grab your weapons with the move buttons, and it feels so weird. Like it's so hard. It's not, the problem is like it's so bad, like it's unplayable, and it's like not even worth it. It's such a hassle to just do basic functions, and it's even worse, like you can get used to it, but then you go away and you come back and it's like impossible to like have to relearn everything. It's incredibly frustrating. Yeah, I hate the move buttons being grabs. Those need to be to move, and like you said, then typically where it says on the right hand, where it says to move and to eject magazine, those two the bottom X and circle are typically turn buttons. You turn left and right. If you look at the control scheme how it is right now, if you're right-handed and you use that X to move, you have to move your thumb to rotate left. You can't move forward and rotate left at the same time. You're gonna have to like. I mean, it's just, man, the thing is that most developers don't make this mistake. So it's incredibly frustrating to have to come back and deal with this again for one of our most anticipated games.
Yeah.
I mean, our last big game of 2021, and this is what we get. And with this move control scheme. And I like playing with the moves because you get to reach out and grab and interact and stuff. And it's just, wow.
I mean, listen, and the fact is like the stuff we've listed isn't even all of the complaints. We're just trying to kind of cover the major complaints we have of this. If you look closer at this, you'll see that the triggers on the move, they fire your weapon or use items. I guess that means you have to holster your gun before you can use an item, or am I going to be like am I going to be pointing my gun at something and being like, no, I don't want to shoot. I want to use this item over here. I haven't played the game. So that's the other thing about this is, I hate complaining about a control scheme when you haven't even played the game, but we've played zombie shooters before, right? So some of our concerns might not be relevant, but 90% of them, I guarantee you, are going to be relevant.
Oh,
because we've played games before, right? We've been playing PSVR games for fucking 5.5 years.
5 years, yeah,
5 years,
It's just really disheartening that, because I know they didn't do this on purpose. This wasn't like a thing, but man, it's just so disappointing when this issue pops up. It's like 1 in every 5 or 10 developers does a control scheme like this, and it's just terrible. And it's like you have so many examples of how to do it right. And I understand you kind of live in your own bubble. I feel like this is the same person that did the Arizona Sunshine move controls, and they're not very good. Like I said, people liked Arizona Sunshine when they got the aim controller because they just want to be able to play and not fight the controls while they're playing. They want to fight the game. So yeah, man, this is like you said. The good thing is that they said they'll be taking in feedback for the game and they'll be shaping it. They're gonna go ahead and just let the game launch though, like this. They're not going to be able to patch this prior to launch because they didn't reach out to us. They didn't reach out to the PSVR community. And, I understand that the sales numbers are not going to be reflected the highest on PlayStation VR. But still, I mean, to have the best experience, the best game the game that we've been waiting for so long for, and we said, okay, you want to delay the game to make sure it's great on every platform? Yes. But I feel like they kind of just overlooked us here, and it sucks, man. It sucks. So,
it's especially disappointing because, again, yeah, like you said, the game's been in development for so long, and on top of that, like when they did this reveal yesterday of finally seeing PSVR footage for the very first time, right? We were like, because we'd seen PC footage for forever, like even people who went out and played it ahead of time. They weren't allowed to capture their own footage. It was like this stock footage. Everything you've been seeing has been coming straight from Vertigo. People haven't been able to post their own footage. And so there's a little concern in the back of everyone's mind being like, where's the PlayStation VR footage? Like, what's it going to look like? Is it just going to be a port of the Quest 2 version? And when they showed this footage off yesterday, it was very clear that the Quest 2 version in the PSVR version had very little in common in that the PSVR version was close to the PC version. We were like, okay, we all breathed a sigh of relief. And then immediately after they posted these controls, we were like, you were so close, man. You were so close. Like you were almost at the finish line and you almost did everything right. It's got crossplay and 32 people like hanging out in the lobby together, and you're gonna be able to go play, 8-player PvP, and you're gonna be able to play the campaign in co-op 4 players. It's like everything sounds right. And it's tons of replayability. They're gonna keep delivering content. It's like they almost got it. They almost got it. And then here they are at the finish line being like, boom, just dropping the ball big time.
Yeah. So the only person, we always recommend waiting for reviews for any game. Doesn't matter what. Don't believe playtester hype. Don't believe anything, because that's what they typically do. But the thing is if you don't even have an aim controller, this is like an automatic don't buy for me. Like, I can immediately tell you, do not pre-order this, do not buy this until they get the Move controllers fixed. If that's the way you wanted to play, it seems like a must wait. Even if you have to pay a little bit more, don't get the pre-order bonuses stuff or whatnot. Then that's the way it's got to be. Or if you want the bonuses to get it now and then wait for it to be patched. But if you want the best experience, you're going to have to wait for this one. It's not going to be at launch with the Move controllers. If you have the aim controller, you have the best chance of then you have at least a chance of enjoying this.
Waleed Saeed Baridi with the Canadian $2 tip says, "Hi guys, you suggest buying after the fall day one?" Literally right now, I know AJ.
I haven't played it.
Yeah, AJ just said what he thinks. And we've been in contact with Vertigo. We've been in contact with the PR team, and so far, PlayStation VR keys have not been delivered. Now, if you pre-order this game, you have access to it on Monday, which is like just 3 days away, right? And so, not having keys for a major title like this 3 days from launch is a little concerning to me. And so I've got my fingers crossed. I really hope this game comes through, and I hope it's everything we want it to be, because again, this seems like a games of service type thing that we actually want. We can't wait for updates for this. We can't wait to get more content, and going through that gameplay loop over and over and over with friends, being like, hey, you want to go do this and level up this weapon and whatever. That I'm excited for that. Usually I'm not like a DLC kind of person. I'm not a seasonal kind of person. I'm like, oh, content comes in seasons. I don't usually care about that. This is a zombie shooter, man. It's like, and after playing Windlands with 3 of my friends, and then 3 more of my friends, and then 2 more of my friends, this is that was scratching the itch that like this I hope really satisfies completely. So the answer is we don't know, but so just try to be patient.
The good news is they showed us the graphics comparison yesterday, and the graphics look more on par with the PC. This is the version we're getting is not a Quest port. It looks more on par with the PC. So graphically, everything looks like it's there. But this control scheme is going to have to get fixed. And there's so many examples. Fract, Arashi. Saints and Sinners is a big one. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. Go look at these games, and those are the normal control schemes that we've been used to. These are games that we didn't have to complain about at launch or near launch, days before launch, and say, hey, your control scheme needs to be fixed. These people did their research, and they cared about that this was intuitive controls. And we'd like to see that too for our last game of the year, our last big game. I guess Zenith is 15 days away now, so we can look forward to that. But yeah, if you don't have an aim controller, sorry, you're screwed right now. I would hold off. I would not buy this if you don't have an aim controller, or get a different version, PC or Quest.
Or if you're good at adapting to control schemes. But again, like just that's just a small part of it. Like we just need to know, we need to get in there and play the PSVR version for ourselves and report back to you guys.
Every developer has always provided. Yeah, we've had review keys like weeks early, and this one we have not. This is the only one.
Weeks
all year long.
Weeks. It's been crazy.
Giving us days. They're giving us days to review this game. Not even days to review this game.
Bogeycat Productions with the £2 says, definitely waiting for a review before I take the plunge. I think that's a smart move, honestly. I'm not going to tell you that not to buy it or to buy it. I'm just not going to say anything outside of...
I'm going to say not buy it right now unless you have a name.
Distracted Gamecat with the New Zealand 349 says, the selection wheel buttons are the problem. they're on the list of problems for sure. Everyone's going to have
there's
the problem that bothers them the most. I think the turn buttons on the moves are the biggest problem. Like, that is fucking nonsense. X Pacer with the $5 tip says, "Let Vertigo Games know I'm available to teach them move control mapping 101. Should take about 5 minutes." Good job.
It
Pacer.
really doesn't take that much work, man. It
Yeah.
really doesn't take that much work and research to figure it out. It's mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
But again, I have reached out to them. They've been very nice about it, and but they did say that they're not going to have anything at launch. They're before launch. I wish they would have reached out sooner. It's going to be after launch. So, yeah, I would love to say to pre-order this game, but I can't right now. Even if it costs you, if the game is as good as we hope, then maybe it'll just be better on the. Maybe it'll be worth that extra $5 you would have been saving pre-ordering it. But
Yeah, well,
just getting screwed over here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't like to get too negative about things before I play them.
Yeah.
But this is the control scheme is nonsense, and I've just got my
The
fingers
move
crossed.
controls, yeah.
I mean, the control scheme for all of them. There's something wrong with
Yeah.
every single one of those control schemes. Like,
That's true.
and there's no reason for it. This is a zombie shooter, right?
Yeah.
It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not doing anything that other zombie shooters haven't done prior. There are
Yeah.
examples of this that have worked way better. I don't know. I've got my fingers crossed though, because like I really, really, really want this to be a good game, and I really want it to be fun, and so I'm trying to temper my expectations, but and also stay positive. I've got again just fingering my crosses.
Game has a lot of things going for it, but they need to get this fixed ASAP.
Dragon's Eye 76 with the $5 tip says, "I pre-ordered after the fall to get 48-hour early access. It's too late." Just
I tell you, man.
keep it in mind, man. Start remapping your brain now, because if you're going to play it on Monday before any patches come out, and this is, we say, oh, this team got it right, that team got it right, another team got it right, all these games did it right, why can't they? Dude, this is still a very common thing. We're living in an age where games come out and we just go, it's going to need a lot of patches.
Every now and then, there's always one to remind us, right?
Even
This is
Arashi,
just
man.
the latest.
I know you love Arashi, but Arashi took like 2 patches
love
to get
Arashi.
to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like it went from being pretty good to being okay, good. Right? It's like they needed 2 patches to make it there.
Great. It's a great.
Great to me is like 9+. 8 is good or very good.
Oh, all right.
All right, dude, we are running way over our time, so let's get to PSVR 20 questions. If you guys don't know how this works, I've chosen a game. A PSVR game, in fact. And AJ and you guys have 20 yes or no questions to figure out what game that is. You also only have 6 minutes to figure that out. I have chosen a game. AJ, I hope I haven't chosen this one before. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Now, let me put the 6-minute timer
Let's do
up
this,
on
Pat.
the screen from Timertopia YouTube channel. They have great timers. And they let us use this one. Go.
Does it have move support?
Yes.
Does it have good move mapping? Good controls?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think the controls are good, but I'm not sure how much it has to do with the mapping.
Let me skip that one. Can I skip that one?
I just answered it.
Because that was not really an answer. I didn't get an answer from that. Does it have aim support?
No.
You said okay. So you said it has moves, no aim support. Do you have hands in this game?
Yes.
Okay. Stupid question. Does this game have combat? Like shooting or melee combat?
No.
No shooting or
5.
melee combat. Okay. That's 5. Has this developer made other VR games?
That's an excellent question. The developer has not made other VR games.
Is this a game that we would consider as a good game?
No, we wouldn't. I think there are members in our community that enjoy it, but I don't think we do.
Okay.
I'm about to say we don't, in fact.
Is it a puzzle game?
Yes.
It is a puzzle game, and it uses the moves, and it's one that we don't say is good, but some of you cats might like it. Doesn't seem like there's no melee or shooting in it. But it did sound like he did make it sound like. But there is some form of combat. I guess. Can you give me that hint?
I would say if you're thinking about combat, that's not what you would think of in this game.
Okay.
I would say no combat. No. Let's just say no. I'm overthinking it. No.
Okay. That's 8 questions. So down.
8.
Puzzle game. Some people like it. We did not. Is there full locomotion?
There is not full locomotion.
Does DMagnet have full locomotion?
At launch, it did not, and then they patched it, and now it does.
Okay. Did you say there's not full locomotion?
There's not full locomotion.
Okay. Is it node teleportation?
Yeah, I would say that's how you'd have to consider this.
Okay. I love Just in Time Inc. So
That's 10, by the way.
okay, 10. Good Goliath is not a puzzle game. FNAF has no locomotion. There's definitely no teleportation in it. It's squishies. Oh boy, oh boy. You said you have hands. I asked if you have hands, and you said this like actual hand-looking hands, right?
Yep, hand-looking hands for sure.
Is it sci-fi?
I am rolling my eyes when I say it. Is it sci-fi? No.
Is it an adventure?
I mean, isn't everything? Isn't life an adventure, AJ?
No, it's not.
I'm not gonna. I can't really answer
Sometimes
that.
it's boring as hell.
I wouldn't really call it an adventure game. You go on an interesting adventure, but it's not. That wouldn't be my classification. No, I'm not going to count that because I did count the earlier question that you wanted me not to.
It has to be. Okay. Rangy. How much time do I have?
1 minute and 45 seconds.
Good God, time is running out fast. Okay, and we're on 11 or on 12. All right, I need to narrow this down. Does this game did it come out in the second half of the PSVR life cycle?
I'm going to say yes, but I'm also going to need to double check that.
Did it come out within the last year?
Okay, so yes, and then no. It did not come out in the last year.
Okay, so it came out in 2020. Or I guess that could be 2019 something. Okay. Here we're getting some stuff. There's node teleportation. Is it story driven?
Somewhat abstractly. I wouldn't be like, oh, there's a solid narrative, but there's certainly there is a narrative. It feels abstract.
Last Labyrinth doesn't have. Yeah, the Transpose is good. Last Labyrinth doesn't have full locomotion. Floor Plan doesn't have locomotion. Or does it have? And that actually, Floor Plan is way older. That came out in the first half of the lifespan.
30 seconds.
Is this game a deep cut?
I don't think so. No.
That's
15.
Let's see. Let's see here. Is it cartoony?
No.
It's not cartoony. Oh God. Does it have cats in it?
No, I mean, not that I remember. 15 seconds.
Is it made by Neat Corp?
It's not made by Neat Corp. That was I was thinking about that one earlier today. 5 seconds.
Is there multiplayer?
No. All right, timer's up. You got to give me an answer.
Okay. Timer's up. Answer. Let's see. I don't have any more answers, so I got to guess something, guys. Give me a game to guess here. It can't be The Room VR because I think we've already done that, right?
Why do we even have a timer?
Because you usually spend a little bit of time waiting or asking stuff or whatever. Did I ask if there's multiplayer and you said no?
You asked and I said no.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to have to guess something from the last year and say, I think you said some people like it. I'm just going to say DMagnet.
It is not Deep Magnet. It is, in fact, exactly what Nike Alexandria said. This game is Last Labyrinth, escape room game, horror game. You do have
Last
hands,
Labyrinth.
but goddamn, they suck.
Last Labyrinth doesn't support the moves.
Yes, it does.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Last Labyrinth supports the moves?
Uh-huh. And DualShock. 100% certain of this.
Last Labyrinth supports the moves. I did not know that. All right, I guess you learned something new at least.
Yep. This was one of my least favorite games of that year because I was excited for it. Everything was done from a static camera angle, and you were controlling somebody in technically third person, and it was not very responsive.
People don't like Last Labyrinth.
Some people
That
do.
is bullshit.
I was very
Who
clear that
likes
I
it?
don't like it and that we don't like it. Some
Who
people
likes
do.
it?
Oh, hey,
Nobody
hey,
likes
hey,
it.
everybody in the chat. Somebody out there likes Last Labyrinth. If you like Last
Never
Labyrinth,
heard
in
of
the
it.
chat,
This is also a deep cut too.
Oh, come
That's
on.
a tough one.
Listen, this
Yeah,
was-
it is a deep. Last Labyrinth, not a deep cut. Pff, okay.
Yeah. Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $2 says, "Do you think we can remap the controls and after the fall?" The answer is no. That is not allowed. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's a fucking logistical nightmare. Unfortunately, so
That's all right.
They're not going to let us do that.
That's all right. At least I learned. I'll take this as a win that today I learned Last Labyrinth has move support, even though it's still hard to believe.
Yeah, it was strange because right before the show, I changed it from budget cuts to Last Labyrinth, and so almost, man, almost. It's almost suggested. But all right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you to all the mods who helped this channel out and helped Discord run smoothly. If you're not a member of our Discord, make sure you click that link in the description below and join us over there. Remember, it's free to join, man. Come hang out with us. That's where we hang out. That's why I sit in voice chat like all day while I work and sometimes get work done, sometimes don't. Make sure you don't, if you don't already, subscribe to AJ over at PSVR Underground. When I'm slacking, he usually picks up that slack, and so there's usually some great live streams over there. Also, shout out to Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, who does all the timestamps for the show. He's my Jeremy the NES rookie, right? I almost forget his name. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you to everybody who helps out the channel. We love you all so very much. Remember to watch this on, listen to this on podcast if you don't want to watch the video. We know that an hour and a half can get way too long. It's definitely long for me. But we love you all. Thank you very much. Everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. Thank you to everybody who supports us here, donating. Thank you to everybody who participated in the chat tonight. And of course, thank you to everybody who sat back, watched the show, didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. AJ.
Guys, subscribe. Hit the like button. Thank you so much. It goes a long way. Let's cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say have a wonderful weekend to LC2552 beats the musical game cat. Thank you, sir. Dark Angel, feel better. We'll be thinking about you. Genetic Blasphemy, the reverse engineered game cat. GTA Sport lets you remap. I didn't know. Oh, yeah. GTA Sport, some of these driving games do let you remap the controls. Yeah, I remap them. Same with Dirt Rally. Forgot about that. And Drive Club. All the racing games got it right. Robert the Game Cat says happy birthday, Twitchy. Emily Baxter, hashtag cartoony witch game kitten. Cue to Komodo Dragon. Kimono Dragon. A kimono. I think it's Komodo Dragon, isn't it?
No,
kimono is.
There's no D.
It is kimono. Oh, okay. I thought a kimono was like that thing that you wore that's like a robe in Japan.
It might also be.
Kimono. The Fenner PSVR. Let's rock. Gracious Dreams says Last Labyrinth ruined my life. Still didn't see a single person say they like this game. Twitcher, the single player game cat.
They're out there.
Maybe
Every time I say I don't like it, somebody's like,
Don't
"Oh,
worry.
I love that game. It was so good." And I'm like, "You're out of your mind."
Aceville VR, you have a solid weekend as well. Ben L of the Game Cat Army, thank you. Virtual Strangers, Wes in the house tonight, thank you so much. Bambino Ramos, good to see you. Mick Coles, keep throwing those shapes, boy. Distracted Game Cat. Thank you so much, man. Serial Killer, the Christmas Crunch Game Cat. Hell yeah. Nihilist Ryan, the Game Feline. Stay metal, my friend. Neon Groove. I always love seeing your name. Jude Albalwi. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining. Old Darth, you have a great weekend as well. Sirens on my end, the Game Cat. You go get you some drinking. Nick Milo, thank you.
There is a
No
D.
block.
I've been corrected by the chat. Komodo Dragon.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
on a roll.
Nick Mueller says Komodo Dragon is a dragon in his pretty sweet robe.
Nice.
Nice.
Sweet.
Right,
Thank
guys.
you, History or Animal Planet from 25 years ago.
Yeah, guys, join Discord. Click the link. We'll see you over there. We love you. Meow meow. Meow meow.
Yeah.